I'm desperate to get this republic awake. I'm going to get into Newt Gingrich, the globalist operative, coming up later in the hour, I promise, with a bunch of video clips and more. Right now, CW, Shandor, Laura, Mike, Ray, Kathy, Don, Paul, Rick, Henry, Dwayne, Martha, we'll get to all of you. CW in Texas, thanks for holding during my ranting and hyperventilating, but watching the country be fed into a meat grinder is pretty painful.
Yes, sir, I understand, and thank you for taking my call. I've called in, over the years, and sir, I've been roughnecking and working in the oil field since I was 18, and when I can't do that, I work on pipelines. And I'm telling you, on 166 on XM, people are listening to you and getting and understanding the message. I not only that, and I'm not trying to be, some sort of a egotistical person, but I took it upon myself several years ago to put this information out there as much as I could. And I'm telling you, Southeast Texas, South Texas, everywhere I've gone across this country, people are waking up to it in some form or fashion. So as good news, as good gospel, people are understanding, and they're not going to take it as far, I don't think everybody has a glass jaw, so to speak, as far as in this movement. But the one thing that concerns me, especially here in the Houston area or in Southeast Texas, I reach out to the other side of the agenda because the English way is to really divide and conquer, mentally. They want to divide the Democrats and Republicans, and just like with the Occupy, Tea Party versus Occupy, they want to say no Ron Paul, no Lyndon LaRouche, none of these folks, right, where you can try to get a whole spectrum of ideas to form a whole opinion.
No, I agree, because the truth is the most powerful idea. That's why Occupy Wall Street, the leadership doesn't want Ron Paul or Patriot Info in there, because they know people will actually wake up to the full paradigm. CW, you're awesome. And yes, people, my show is just one example of the exploding awakening happening, and it's everywhere thanks to people like you. God bless you. Shandor in Canada, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Alex, big fan. Calling in to talk about Occupy and this theory called, it's kind of like genetic engineering, but it's mimetic engineering, and how Occupy is implanted into our society.
Yeah, the system is branding all revolution against the banksters as leftists, as they always worldwide brand all resistance to globalist as communist, when the globalists feed off a communist system. And again, I'm not saying Occupy itself is bad. They call for the protest to begin. Everybody gathers. And then they come in and take it over. Go ahead. Sorry.
So Occupy Wall Street makes its point, and I think here in Canada we've heard that point. In Niagara region, there's which is just across the border from Niagara Falls, there's this sort of third-generation movement starting where Occupy Wall Street inspired Occupy Toronto, which is now inspiring small-town occupations, which have all sort of fallen apart. But what I've noticed is I was raised in a New Age sort of church cult, and I'm seeing the same processes taking place with consensus, this injection of wiggling your fingers, of tapping your head.
Yeah, no, it's called the Delphi technique is one variant of it, and they claim, we're hearing everyone. What's the consensus? You've all been heard. And then they subtly never come to a decision until people have been twisted to a certain view. And that's exactly what the establishment's doing, is triggering the revolution so they can control it.
All in a box and then close the box. And I'm very concerned about it. One of the most interesting things I've seen recently is this guy whom I think his name's Ed, wellaware1.com, has raised interesting points about actors being used at Occupy Wall Street.
I know there's been all sorts of famous actors out there giving support to it, and I think that's because they're pretty much conned themselves. I appreciate you joining us. Okay, Mike, Ray, Kathy, Don, Paul, everybody, your calls are straight ahead. Have your point ready, and we'll get right to you. Stay with us. Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're here live. Back Sundays 4 to 6 Central as well. Coming up, after I take a whole bunch of your calls, I'm going to get into the real Newt Gingrich, because I can't tell you how many well-meaning conservative people email me, call me, or I see them on TV or hear him on talk radio going, I'm just glad Gingrich is getting up there. He's a statesman, and he's real smart. The communist in 1917 in Russia advertised all these high-tech paintings and film reels of blimps and high-tech factories and super science. That's a very old system to doll up tyranny, fascism, communism as technological. And that's what Newt Gingrich has always talked about, the global technotronic state, the end of America. I'm going to read you some quotes from the foreword he wrote to just one of Alvin and Heidi Toffler's globalist books. And then I'm going to play Bill Clinton just 2 days ago saying how great Newt Gingrich is. And then I'm going to play Newt Gingrich with Nancy Pelosi endorsing climate change taxes. And again, I'm just getting into a small amount of this. He was sent in to take over the Republican Revolution of '94 and make sure that constitutionalists didn't get anywhere, ahead of the globalist staging Oklahoma City to demonize the patriots. Newt Gingrich is an avowed, I mean, he's part of groups here in these reports that openly call for the end of the family, everything. I'm going to read some of the quotes, and that's coming up. And remember, years ago, you didn't believe me that Rick Perry supported open borders or gun control or worked for Al Gore, went to Bilderberg. It's now all admitted. Mitt Romney supports abortion, open borders, sanctuary cities, wrote Obamacare, part of a big hedge fund that rated companies the opposite of free market, advised by a guy, part of the bailouts. These guys will let you know at critical points. Remember Glenn Beck endorsing the bailout in 2008, now saying he never did that? These guys will surface and let you know who they are. And I hope they change. I hope they realize this system doesn't have any future for them. Okay, I'm going to get to your calls, then I'm going to get into that and a bunch of other news here. I am a tortured person, though. Briefly at the end of the show, guys, make sure I tell them in at least a few minutes what happened with the state police guy pulling me over Friday. I mean, talk about a third world country. What's in that bottle? A literal Topo Chico bottle. And I said, I go, did you ever seen a beer bottle looks like this, buddy? Okay? You ever seen something looks like this? It's water. What's in that tin can down there on the floorboard? Well, I don't know. You're looking in my car trying to create some psychological thing that I'm bad and you're good when you work for government that publicly ships narcotics in and kidnaps little kids. That's another can of bottled water. It reads La Croix or whatever. Don't you see it says water? Or do you have good eyesight? Should you be out driving that police vehicle? Oh, he pulls out a little wand and wants to check my tent next. And I just sit there while they nickel and dime us, and the whole culture is about how we're bad and we're evil and they're good. It doesn't matter. Your bosses are going to destroy this country and you right along with it. So in a way, God gives us a blessing because you get what you want. You get what you need. You get what you beg for. And a lot of you are going to be just like German citizens. 20 million of them died because they bought into evil. Or the Russians. And most of you are so weak-minded that serve this system, you're going to love it anyways. Because you like evil, like your father, don't you? All right, I haven't even gotten to the story yet. But my problem is the only reason, and there's nowhere to run anyways, and it wouldn't be running. I was literally rebuking this guy. I can't put up with it anymore. Because this isn't a legitimate government. This is a representative of a group of absolute criminals that have hijacked and destroyed my country. And I can't put up with it anymore. And I don't care how much propaganda or bull or lawyer spin you put on it. The good news is everybody at some level now admits we got a criminal, corrupt system running things. And folks, you ain't seen nothing yet. And that's why I get so angry. I know how bad it is. I've read all the white papers and put them on air where they talk about once the world government's in place, how they're going to start hard killing people with bioweapons they're going to release. And they're going to tell you an Easter Bunny Al-Qaeda did it. God almighty, I'm trying to save people here, and that's all I'm trying to do. And I'm just crazy enough to be able to face reality. I got my head screwed on so straight, ladies and gentlemen, it'll make your head spin. You know what I mean? Crazy like a fox. You get the riddle? Got my head screwed on so straight it'll make your head spin. Laura in Wisconsin, you're on the air. Thanks for holding.
Alex?
Hi.
Hi. I just wanted to tell you real quick how the University of Wisconsin is trying to intimidate my husband into submission. He's been taking the TB skin test for 22 years there, every 6 months. He's an employee. And he has decided enough is enough. We've recently been awakened within the last
year. It's all part of the medical tyranny. They open the borders to the illegals with the drug-resistant TB. It's all part of just training us to be guinea pigs. Now they're trying to claim it's the law to take shots when it's not. Total fraud. So what's happening, Laura?
Well, now they're telling him that if he doesn't take it, they're going to fire him. And
well, he can sue them. They've tried that with the nurses, everybody. They can claim it's a policy, but it's against his human rights.
That's right.
He can bring up the articles where the German government doesn't really take vaccines but tells the public to.
Yeah, and that's what they're doing. He was sent to the compliance director. She looked like Janet Napolitano.
Of course.
And treated him like she would have treated him, and it's crazy. We have to get an attorney and everything over this.
Well, be sure to don't just defend yourself. Sue them, and sue them personally. Okay, and rally people there, and get others. Go knock on doors. Get hundreds to stand together. I've seen this all over the place. You've got to stand against these people because they openly admit they are preparing the police for forced inoculation. That's what the forced blood draws are about, is creating medical corps of police.
I believe it. We've been doing some research, and we found that they don't even know what the TB test, it doesn't even do any good. They don't even know if it works.
Listen, they don't do any Ellis Island test. The illegal aliens are above the law. I said to the state police guy, I said, I know you're told to let illegal aliens go. And he goes, yeah, I don't like that. Well, then what are you doing pulling me over and wanting to imply I'm bad and all this? And at the end of it, he goes, I know who you are. Listen to your show. I like your show. I'm like, what? But you just did all of this. I go, look, if you were busting the big criminals, if our state was sovereign, then I might, it's a joke. They're rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. You see what I'm saying?
I do.
And again, it isn't that I don't believe in vaccine technology. The problem is there are companies that lobby to force us to take their stuff that is given government liability protection and is hurting people. And you find out the companies are eugenicists doing it on purpose. I mean, I remember 16 years ago getting the documents that they're taking everybody's blood at birth for now 40 years worldwide. And now it's all out in the news. People are like, okay, they take your blood secretly. It's a secret, out-of-control group of criminals. Don't people get it? We're in danger. It's a joke.
Yeah.
And anybody who doesn't make a break with the sports and the crud and the vainness and the worldliness is aiding this. We've got to literally get our priorities straight. If you call that repenting, then call it that. Anything else, Laura?
No, that's it. I just wanted to let you know what's going on in Wisconsin.
God bless you. I'm sorry about your husband. Everybody should pray for him. But you know what? If we don't start bucking it now, we're all going to lose something. God bless you. If they fire him there, other doors will open, Laura. Now, I said I'd take each caller and give them 30 seconds and give a 10-second comment. I didn't do that. When I do this, it works like a charm, but look how great that lady is. And that had to be discussed. Look, regardless of where you stand on vaccines, I'm going to give you the skeleton key to it all. Right here. They admit that they lie nationwide and worldwide and say it's the law to take vaccines. And you got to take them to go to school when it's not true. Go verify they're lying to you. Find out that they know they're lying. And right there's an example of how the mainstream media, schools, and the system and the doctors will lie to you in a unified front of crooks, of scumbag, racketeering trash. Now, it doesn't just stop there. They took blood and are still doing it for 40 years worldwide for a eugenics database. They're obsessed with your bloodline. We'll be right back.